Hey guys, Andre here, and welcome to our Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Q&A, where we answer your questions about the game. Now, you guys sent in a ton of them, so I picked out some of the best ones, and I still have a giant pile to get through. So, I'm gonna treat this a bit like a lightning round and just try to get through these as quickly as possible. So let's stop wasting time and dive right in. Alright, Rich asks, can you do 4-player split screen on one Switch in dock mode? Yeah, you sure can. You can do 4-player on both in both dock form as well as in handheld form. So basically, however you want to play his game, even though in handheld form the screens are like 3 inches big for each player. So it's a little bit on the small side, but it's still doable. Calvin of Hobbies asks, it might be tough to test, but does playing on local wireless allow 4 players per Switch? Does it function like a LAN mode? So yes, it basically functions like a LAN mode, but no. You can only have 2 players per Switch when you're playing wirelessly. Sean Magoni asks, how smooth is the game at 1080p? Any frame rate issues? I have not seen any frame rate issues at all, either in docked form or in handheld form, so it seems to run flawlessly. Matt Baldwin asks, does it control as well as Mario Kart 8 did? Yeah, I'd say it controls at least as well. I mean, or exactly as well, I suppose. I have not really noticed any major difference. I have noticed, there's one thing I want to look into a little bit more. It does seem like, to me, the drifting, maybe the timing may be a little bit different when it comes to getting the boost, but I could be completely wrong on that. So I just figured I'd throw it out there, but don't take that as gospel. I'm going to check more into that. It's probably more just a controller feeling a little bit different to me. But yeah, the game otherwise, it seems identical control-wise, with maybe that one small exception. Master Sword asks, are there more battle courses than what was revealed? If so, how many? Unfortunately, there are only 8 courses, so we knew about them all going in. I mean, unless there's one super well hidden in the game, there seems to be only 8. Stonepa asks, how comfy is using the individual Joy-Cons? I don't know if comfy is a word. It's fine. It works fine for the most part. I used them at the January event, and I played around with it just now for the Q&A. And yeah, it works fine. So, you know, because the game does depend on the shoulder buttons a little bit, that's my least favorite part of using the Joy-Con. Even with the strap that makes the buttons more button-like. Yeah, so that's the worst part. Otherwise, the handle's fine. Herson Pineda asks, does it have voice chat like in Wii U? Right now, it does not, so you know, there's no microphone or anything for voice chat, unlike the Wii U, which did have that gamepad support, with the microphone built in. But we do know the voice chat app is coming at some point, so it will have voice chat, just not right now. Oscar Navarro asks, have you been able to play 4-player split screen on unlocked mode or undocked mode? And if so, is it difficult to play on such a small screen? Yes and no. So I tried it out just to test it by myself, and technically it works, but I haven't tried crowding 4 people around a small undocked Switch yet. So I have a feeling this could be a little bit tricky. But no, I haven't tested it fully myself. Bad Account Avoid asks, does the game perform the same as on the Wii U, docked and in portable mode? It actually performs a little bit better than the Wii U because it doesn't have a weird frame stutter every second, which I think we may do a video on at some point. Otherwise, as I mentioned earlier, it seems to function identically in docked and in portable mode. Duke Spubber asks, does it feel at times that the battle mode track seem a bit too large? No. At least not if you're playing with a full slate of CPU. So if you have 12 players in there, it's not an issue at all. If anything, sometimes it feels a little bit too small. Igik asks, does it run better in mobile mode like Zelda does? As I said before, it seems to run the same. Sheeble Meeb Morp asks, how are the startup and loading times? They seem fine. I mean, I don't think it was a huge issue before, but I think they are a little bit faster now. Maybe I'll do a comparison at some point. But yeah, I mean, I didn't have an issue before. It's not an issue now. If anything, it seems to be a little bit faster. Aaron Double asks, now that we can hold 2 items at once, how different does it feel to defend or approach first place? You know, I wish I could answer this question, but I haven't played enough to fully say. There's so many intricacies to using items, and playing against CPUs is different than playing online. And I have played online, but only with a small amount of players. So I'll have to circle back to that question, you know, in the future. TSE asks, does the North American version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe support Japanese as a language option? I actually just tested it literally seconds ago, and it sure does. Space Padre asks, does the ability to hold 2 items now instead of 1 make things easier? Can you still hold an item behind you? Yeah, you can. So what this does is it basically makes Mario Kart 8 Deluxe function like every other Mario Kart in the series, except for the first one and Double Dash. So yeah, if you played any of those other Mario Karts, it plays like those. You can drag an item behind you while having a item in reserve. So if your primary item gets taken out, you have the other one to back it up. So does it make things easier or harder? I can't say. I don't think it changes that really at all. It makes it different. but now there's, a little bit more chaos going on, there's more items around, so yeah. XXGammon101XX asks, is it possible for one player to use a Pro Controller and for another to use a Joy-Con grip? Yeah, it sure is. You can do whatever arrangement you want, basically. You can use Pro Controller, the grip, or both Joy-Con separately as well, of course. TWIP asks, does this game have download play? Unfortunately, it does not. Everyone's going to have a full copy of the game, which is, I believe, the first handheld Mario Kart not to have a download play option, so it's a bit disappointing. Although, to be fair, it is, basically a full console game, so it's a little bit of a weird situation. Jake Brents asks, are all cups and CC levels unlocked from the start, or do you have to gradually unlock them? Basically, everything except for kart parts and Gold Mario are unlocked from the get-go. So yeah, all cups and all CC levels. So that's really nice if you're coming from the Wii U one, and that you don't have to do all that again. But you do still have to unlock all the kart parts, which is a little bit annoying. Legend of Zelda Jam asks, did Mario Kart 8 Deluxe fix the item balancing issues you had with the Wii U version of the game? It's a little bit too early to say at this point. I have noticed that I still have the same coin issue as I did before. I mean, there are times where you're in first place and you have nothing to do. You just aren't getting items that really work for you. But maybe a bit less of an issue. Again, it's just too early to say. I need to play with more people. I need to play more games. So yeah, it's probably gonna be a week or two before I can fully answer that, or maybe even not until the game comes out, rather. Supa asks, is a Mercedes-Benz DLC in the game? If it is, it's not available from the get-go. I've already unlocked a fair amount of parts, and I haven't seen any signs of it yet. So my guess is it's probably gone for good, but I don't want to say that for sure. It could be like one of the last Unlockables or something, maybe. Casey Johnston asks, how is the frame rate in multiplayer? So in 2 players, it still seems to be 60 frames per second, but once you add a 3rd or 4th, that's when it drops down to 30. Now, interestingly, I noticed that the screen still runs at 60 frames per second, as in it changes every frame, but it alternates which players it updates. So the top 2 players will update at the same time, and then the bottom 2 players will update alternating. It's not really a big deal, something you won't notice, really at all, but I just thought I'd mention it. Michael asks, is Morton still as majestic as he was in the original game? Of course, Morton's always majestic. Juan asks, when using auto steering, if you were drifting but about to crash into a wall, will the game steer you away or let it continue? So auto steering will try to steer you away. It does a really good job of keeping you away from the walls and on the track. In fact, in some courses like Rainbow Road, it's impossible to drive off. I tried my best, you cannot get off the track. At least not through any ways I tried. In other tracks, like even in the desert, it'll keep you on the track itself. Like it won't let you drive into the sand. Now there are times when you can drive off some tracks, like if there's a shortcut that's off the track, then it'll let you drive off that portion and screw up. But yeah, the game does a really good job of keeping you on the track, whether you're mid-drift or not. So yeah, no matter what, it's going to keep you away from those walls. Now you can actually drive into walls if you really want to try, but again, the game's going to steer you away from them. Mario asks, how did the pink sparks feel as a mechanic? They feel fine. I mean, it's just a third tier of boost, so yeah, I don't have any issues with it. The thing is, you don't see them that often because it takes so long to earn that 3rd spark. It's really only on the widest and longest of corners or turns that you can really start earning them. So I posted a video today of me getting a bunch of them in Mario Circuit, I believe, because that one has some nice long winding turns. In other tracks where you don't have those long turns, it's much harder to get. But it is worth it because you get a pretty big speed boost that lasts quite a while from a pink boost. So I don't think it changes that much, but again, I haven't played online with a ton of people yet, so I have a feeling if you're getting those pink boosts, around those longer corners, you're gonna have a pretty big leg up on those who aren't getting it. So in that sense, yeah, it may change it quite a bit. Zenny asks, is a function upload your races to Mario Kart TV back? As far as I can tell, no. I think there's another question here with someone asking about YouTube, so I'll answer that now as well. As far as I can tell, there's no way to share your videos. You can still save it. You can save them to the console still, but again, there's no sharing option, which is a bit disappointing. So, yeah, I guess that's good for Elgato though. Trevor Toller asks, is a battle mode Shine Thief? In the battle mode Shine Thief, is it possible to immediately steal the shine if you hit someone while using a star? I'm not 100% sure on the star, but I know that's the case with mushrooms, so I'm almost confident, or I'm pretty confident it's the case for the star as well. Java Does 2017 asks, with all the characters unlocked from the start, does the game still have any stuff to unlock in single player? Yeah, it still has the card parts as I mentioned earlier, so you still unlock one for every 30 coins, I believe. So you'll have those to look forward to, but beyond that, everything else is pretty much unlocked from the get-go. Local Gamer 119 asks, do the balloon or bomb bound modes have any possible way to let you play Last Man Standing? So no, with no timer. Unfortunately, there isn't. There's no last man standing option, and I really wish there was. But that's what made Classic Battle Mode so great. So yeah, it's still fun, but there's no last man standing option. Hala asks, how do the motion controls of using a Joy-Con in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe compare to that of a Wii Remote in Mario Kart 8? It feels pretty similar. I would say the Wii Remote probably feels a little bit better simply because it's bigger and you have more to hold on to when it comes to motion controls. But the Joy-Con still works and controls fine, so if you got used to motion controls before, you can do it here now. Progressive Pig asks, do you still get all the Amiibo Mii costumes from the Wii U version, and are there any more? As far as I can tell, they're all back and there are no more. So there's no more or no less. What you saw before is what you get here. Mario again asks, how does it feel revisiting a gameplay for over 100 hours already with no new tracks? You know, surprisingly, I'm having a really good time. I really enjoy Mario Kart 8, and it's been a few months since I've really played it. Maybe even the better part of a year since I've really played it. So it's fun going back. Yeah, there's no new tracks. I really wish there were, but despite that, there's still a ton of material in this game. So yeah, it hasn't been that big of an issue for me. Makalore asks, you didn't show much of this in your menu tour video, but what are all the options for setting up online tournaments? So I'm actually going to make a separate video with some of the smaller differences between this game and Mario Kart 8, and this is going to be part of it. But for the most part, the tournament options are all the same. The only really notable difference I found is that you can now set the max amount of tracks playable up to 48 from 32, I believe. That way you can play all the tracks in the game. The Ultra Tweeter asks, are some of the big shortcuts in Mario Kart 8 for Wii U doable in Deluxe? For example, the one big shortcut in Big Blue. Yeah, as far as I can tell, all the shortcuts still work the same as they did before. The tracks are pretty much completely unchanged. So yeah, any shortcut that worked before should still work now. Nintendo Gamer 199 asks, are the staff time trial ghosts the same as the Wii U version? So I can't speak for all of them, I only checked a couple, but the ones I did check were actually different, or they seem to be. I don't remember if you unlocked different ghosts maybe in the Wii U one, so that might be why I'm seeing different ones. But I found the same guy listed for the same time trial with different times. In fact, the Switch version I think was a little bit longer than the Wii U one, so that's a little bit interesting. Bubbles asks, are the battle modes fun to play? Yeah, I think they are. I think they are so far. I've had a really good time with them, and you'll hear more about that in my review coming up tomorrow. Daniel Guerrero asks, what battle modes stand out to you? I mean, I think I have to go with Renegade Roundup. I mean, that's the only truly new one here, and it's pretty cool. So it plays very different from any other Mario Kart battle mode before. So yeah, I enjoy it just because it is so different, and it stands out for that reason. Jordan Chambers asks, can we play a 48 race series in the versus mode, or the maximum still 32 races? Well, I guess I answered that with the tournament question, but yeah, it's 48 now, so there you go, you should be happy. Douglas asks, how does the game determine the Mii that shows up as your character in online rooms? So basically, the first time you start up Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it'll ask you to choose a Mii. If you don't have one, it'll ask you to create one or import one from an amiibo if you registered it. So yeah, there's no way to proceed really without registering a Mii as far as I know. Arrow asks, do you feel that the item balance has been changed up so you don't just keep getting coins and first store the same item over and over? So again, this is something I'm going to need more time with to play online with the whole full slate of players. From right now, I would say it seems to be pretty much the same. I've definitely been the first and kept getting coins repeatedly. But again, it's something I need more time with, so sorry I don't have a more precise answer for you. Matthew Wilson asks, how often can you make use of the new pink turbo? Is it too long to charge to make use of? So I kind of touched on that earlier, but yeah, I mean, it does take a while to charge it up. Now again, the steeper you take a turn, the faster you can earn it, but even still, like, it's still a pretty lengthy wait. So again, it's something you're not going to be getting on every corner like you can mostly with a Stage 2 boost. This is something more reserved for the longer, more gradual turns. So yeah, I don't think you can see it a bunch, but it's still going to be important to get it when you can. Dylan Michael asks, how do you personally feel the game compares to the Wii U version in terms of graphics and performance? I mean, performance is better because they fixed that 59 frame rate, or that 59 frames per second issue is now a solid 60. Graphically, I mean, it's very similar. I mean, it looked amazing before, it still looks amazing, but I have to admit, I was surprised how sharp it looked in 1080p on my TV. It looks great. It looked great before, it looks even better now. It's not a 9-day difference, obviously, but it does look better. B King asks, does auto drift mode make a return? So, as far as I can tell, it doesn't. I think the auto steering and auto accelerate take its place, because my character never automatically entered a drift without me activating it myself. Nintendo Gamer 199 asks, what vehicle parts are unlocked from the start? So, I don't have a list in front of me at all, but I'm pretty sure it's the same as in the Wii U version. Now, I didn't double check that, but it did seem to be, from what I remember, it seemed to match up with what I remember starting with in the Wii U version. The Gaming Master Guys asks, is N64 Rainbow Road a full lap course still? or did they actually make it 3 laps and not just sections? Unfortunately, it's still just a single lap. It's ironic that the longest course in Mario Kart history is now the shortest one in Mario Kart 8. I don't get how that works, but there you go. This would have been the perfect time to at least make it a 2-lap course, especially because the stupid thing loops in on itself, but no, it's just 1 lap. So maybe they'll fix that in a patch or something. Probably not. Ganon asks, can you swap your 2 items like in Double Dash, or is it just a queue of sorts? So, unfortunately, no, you can't swap items at all. It's just a queue. Like I said before, it functions like literally every other Mario Kart game except Double Dash and Super Mario Kart. The only aspect that's anything like Double Dash is the fact that, 1, it displays both items inside item boxes, and 2, there are now 2 item boxes you can pick up at a time. It has a double item box out on the course. Those are the only other things. Otherwise, any similarities to Double Dash are completely superficial, because it controls like any other Mario Kart before Mario Kart 8. And, you know, after the original Super Mario Kart. And finally, Matt Ninja 22 asks, what might be the most important question of all time, is the Luigi Death Stare back? Matt, the Luigi Death Stare never went away. And with that, we're finally done answering all the questions we have time to in this video. So hopefully you found this to be a little bit illuminating and gave you a little bit more insight into what to expect from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And of course, we'll have lots more content coming up about it that should provide an even better idea of what to expect, including our review going out tomorrow at 6 AM Pacific time, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. Of course, make sure to subscribe to GameXplain if you haven't already, and stay tuned for lots more on Mario Kart and everything else Nintendo Switch related too. Catch you later. Bye.